The sky broke open without a sound. You remember that part most clearly. No thunderous entry, no defiant roar against the atmosphere. Just a silent, effortless tear in the fabric of space. One moment, you saw the familiar star-born tapestry. The next, you saw them. Their ships were not metal as you understood it. They were forged from captured night, geometric impossibilities that drank the light. They hung there in the high orbit, a fleet of obsidian daggers aimed at the heart of your world. Your defense grid fired instantly, a beautiful, desperate answer of light and energy. Lasers reached for them across the void. Kinetic rounds raced to meet them. It was a valiant effort. It was a completely useless one. Their ships did not even raise shields. The light from your lasers simply bent around them. The projectiles slowed. They stopped. Then they were turned back upon you. Your own weapons became their first volley. You watched the orbital stations shatter. The silent explosions bloomed like ghost flowers in the dark. Down on the surface, panic was a tidal wave. You sat in the command bunker, a mile beneath the ground. The world shook with the impact of your own failed hopes. Screens flickered, showing red icons where proud defenses once stood. Every alert was a nail in the coffin. They were methodical. They were thorough. They were taking you apart piece by piece. They never fired a single weapon of their own. That was the most insulting part. They used your strength, your technology, against you. It was a statement, a declaration that you were not even a threat. You were a child throwing stones at a giant. And the giant was bored. For 3 days, they dismantled your global defenses. They did it with an unnerving precision, like a surgeon removing organs. Not a single shot struck a civilian center. Not yet. They wanted you helpless first. They wanted you to watch your guardians fall, to understand the absolute totality of your defeat. You listened to the reports. The fleet over North America, gone. The Pacific Squadron, vaporized. The lunar base, silent. Each report was colder than the last. The voices on the comms grew thin. They were filled with a fatalistic calm, the calm of people who know the end has arrived. You saw their first shuttles descend on the 4th day. They were as quiet as the motherships. Sleek, black drops of ink falling through the clouds. They landed in deserted fields, unclaimed plains. They did not storm your cities. They simply arrived. It was an occupation, not an invasion. They didn't need to fight you for your planet. They were just taking it. Your generals spoke of last stands, of guerrilla warfare, of making them pay for every inch of ground. You knew it was just talk. Brave words to hold back the dark. How do you fight an enemy that can turn your bullets around in midair? How do you resist a force that treats your best weapons like annoying gnats? It was like trying to punch a ghost. A very, very well-armed ghost. The broadcasts began on the 5th day. Their voice, if you could call it that, echoed from every speaker on the planet. It was not a language of sounds. It was a language of pure concept. It bypassed your ears and bloomed directly in your mind. The message was simple. Surrender. Your governments were dissolved. Your species was now a protectorate. Their word was law. You felt the psychic pressure of their voice, a heavy blanket of absolute authority. It promised peace. It promised order. It promised an end to all your petty conflicts. All you had to do was kneel. Most people did. What choice did they have? The fight was over before it began. But in your bunker, surrounded by the last remnants of human authority, you did not kneel. You looked at the grim faces of the scientists and soldiers, the leaders of a world that no longer existed. Defeat was a bitter taste in your mouth. But one last idea remained, A weapon so strange, so theoretical, it had been laughed out of every military budget meeting. It was a weapon that did not fire lasers. It did not launch missiles. It attacked the one place they couldn't armor, the space between their ears. They had conquered your world. But you were about to declare war on their minds. It was a desperate, insane gamble. It was all you had left. You stand in a room that feels like a tomb. It is cold. The air hums with the energy of dying hope. Around a polished metal table, the last leaders of humanity are gathered. Their faces are masks of exhaustion. General Oram is staring at a blank screen, as if willing a victory to appear there. Doctor, Iris Thorne is rubbing her temples. A gesture you have seen 1,000 times in 3 days. The topic of discussion is surrender. The word hangs in the air, thick and suffocating. To most, it seems like the only logical path. You cannot fight their ships. You cannot break their power. To resist further is to invite annihilation. A simple, brutal equation. Then you speak. Your voice is quiet, but it cuts through the despair like a knife. You talk about Project Somnus. The official name was a mouthful, the Bioresonant Neural Interface. A fancy way of saying a dream machine. It was designed for deep space travel, to keep astronauts sane during long journeys, to create shared, calming dreamscapes. When you mention its other potential, everyone looks at you. Its weaponized potential. The project was shelved years ago. It was deemed too unpredictable, too dangerous. The ethics were a nightmare. The idea of invading a mind was abhorrent. Now, in this tomb of a room, abhorrent ideas were starting to look attractive. You explain the theory. The enemy is a hive mind, a collective consciousness. Their greatest strength is this unity. They think as one. They act as one. Their thoughts are networked, connected across vast distances. They are a perfect chorus of intent. But what happens if you introduce a single sour note into that chorus? Dr. Thorne looks up. Her eyes, usually so tired, hold a flicker of interest. She designed the original Somnus device. She knows its power. She also knows its risks. She reminds everyone of the test failures. The psychological damage to the subjects. The way it could unravel a person's sanity. You counter her argument. Their sanity is not your concern. They came to your home. They broke your world. They are sleeping peacefully in their ships right now. They are dreaming of conquest and victory. You propose giving them something else to dream about. A little touch of human imagination. Maybe a nightmare or two. It was a joke, but nobody laughed. The general scoffs. He calls it a fool's errand, a scientist's fantasy. He wants to fight with steel and fire, not with whispers and bad dreams. He talks about honor, about dying on your feet. You ask him how much honor there is in extinction. The room falls silent again. You lay out the plan. It does not require a single shot to be fired. You will use the planetary deep space comms array, the one they so graciously ignored. You will modify the Somnus signal. Instead of a gentle dream, you will broadcast a jolt, a psychic scream, a splinter of pure, unfiltered chaos. You won't target their ships. You will target their sleeping minds. Their collective consciousness is a vast, calm ocean. You plan to drop a stone into it. A very, very loud stone. You don't know what it will do. The models predict anything from mild confusion to catastrophic, system-wide psychosis. It's a roll of the dice, a shot in the darkest of nights. For hours they debate. The moral implications, the chances of success, the risk of making things worse. Could they get angry and just blast the planet into dust? Probably. But they could do that anyway. They held all the cards. This was your attempt to sneak one from the bottom of the deck. Finally, the decision is made. It is not a proud one. It is born of desperation. The general agrees. His face is stone. Dr. Thorne agrees. Her hands are trembling. The last president of the last free nation gives you the go-ahead. The order is given. You are to prepare the whisper weapon. You walk to the Somnus lab. It is 2 levels below the main command center. It is covered in dust. The equipment is old but well maintained. Dr. Thorne and her team are already there. They are pulling off covers. They are firing up consoles. The hum of the machine is a low thrum, a promise of something new, something terrible, or maybe, just maybe, something hopeful. The machine is a mess of wires and broadcast dishes. It focuses on a single, crystalline spire at its center. This is the heart of the Somnus, the part that converts electrical signals into neural ones. It sings to the mind. You are about to teach it a very different kind of song, a song of fear. You have become humanity's last and strangest choir master. The air in the lab is thick with ozone and anxiety. You are standing before a console that was never meant for war. Its interface is gentle, full of soft colors and calming menus. Options for serene beach or peaceful forest still linger on the screen. Dr. Thorne's team is busy bypassing them all. They are digging into the core code, looking for the raw power beneath the safety protocols. You are the conductor of this strange orchestra. You guide them. You tell them what you need. A signal that is not a signal. A frequency that does not travel through the air, but through the shared consciousness of your enemy. You call it a whisper that can cross the void, a whisper aimed at the heart of their hive mind. Dr. Thorne works with a feverish intensity. She is a master of this technology. She built it to heal. Now she is helping you turn it into a weapon. You see the conflict in her eyes, the way her hands hesitate over certain commands. But she does not stop. She knows this is the only path left. You connect the Somnus device to the planetary comms array, a massive network of dishes powerful enough to touch the stars. The invaders ignored it. They saw it as primitive, a relic. They had no idea it could be used to talk directly to their souls. Pride, you think, is a universal weakness, even for star-conquering aliens. The system is ready. A single large button on your console glows red. It is a stark contrast to the rest of the calming interface. A panic button installed by a cautious designer. It was meant to shut the whole thing down. You have repurposed it. Now, it will begin the broadcast. The first shot in a war no one will ever see. You take a deep breath. You can feel the eyes of everyone in the room on you. The soldiers, the scientists, the last leaders of your world. They are all watching you. They are placing the fate of humanity in your hands. No pressure, you think to yourself. It's only the potential savior of an entire species. You press the button. There is no sound, no flash of light. The crystalline spire at the center of the Somnus machine glows a little brighter. A soft, pale blue. The hum of the equipment deepens slightly. On the screen, a single line of data scrolls past. Signal broadcast active. That's it. It feels anticlimactic. You just fired the most important weapon in human history, and nothing happened. The world did not shake. The invaders did not suddenly explode. The silence in the room is deafening. Did it work? Is anything happening up there? You turn to the comms technicians. You ask them to monitor the enemy's internal chatter. You need to see if your whisper has been heard. The technicians work frantically. They are sifting through the layers of the hive mind's communication. It is like listening to a billion voices all speaking at once. A torrent of silent, psychic data. For an hour, there is nothing. The chatter continues as normal. Orders are given, reports are filed. The mundane logistics of an occupation. A cold dread begins to creep into your heart. Did you fail? Was it all for nothing? Was this humanity's last, desperate gasp? The general puts a hand on your shoulder. His expression is unreadable. He doesn't say a word. He doesn't have to. You can feel the weight of his disappointment, the weight of all their disappointment. You stare at the screen, willing something to change. Then you see it, a flicker, a tiny anomaly in the data stream, a single word repeated over and over again. It is not an order. It is not a report. It is a question that should be impossible for a hive mind to ask. Did you hear that? The technician isolates the signal. It comes from a soldier on one of the orbiting ships. A low-level drone, a single voice in the chorus. But now, other voices are echoing the question, from other ships, from other soldiers. The query spreads, a ripple of confusion in the calm ocean of their mind. Hear what? Another voice asks. A sound, the first one replies. Ah, scream. You look at Dr. Thorne. A slow smile spreads across her face. It is a tired, grim smile, but it is a smile nonetheless. You did it. You sent your silent scream into the void, and they heard you. First contact of the mind has been made, and you have a feeling they are not going to like what you have to say. The ripple becomes a wave. The single question, did you hear that? Зрение распространяется через их сеть. It is a virus of curiosity, a seed of discord planted in the fertile soil of their shared consciousness. You watch the data streams. The calm, orderly flow of information is becoming choppy. Before, their communication was flawless, a perfect symphony of thought. Now, it has flinches, pauses, moments of static where there should be clarity. You see status reports halt midway. Tactical discussions get derailed by questions about the noise, a low-level, persistent hum that only they can perceive. Their commanders try to shut it down. They issue directives. Focus on your tasks. Ignore the sensory anomaly. The sound is a malfunction of your own perception. They are trying to patch the hole, but the hole is in their minds. You cannot patch a mind with a command. You begin to see the first tangible results in the medical logs. You have a spy in their system, a simple algorithm that flags certain keywords. The word sleep is now trending, and restlessness, and vivid sensory experience. That last one makes you smile. A very polite term for a nightmare. Their soldiers are stirring in their sleep. They are not used to this. For them, sleep is a state of quiet communion, a silent merging with the hive mind. It is a time of perfect peace. You have taken that away from them. You have filled their silent sanctuary with whispers and shadows. You read the logs. A pilot on the flagship reports dreaming of falling, not in his ship, just his body, tumbling endlessly through a black, starless void. A ground trooper dreams of the walls of his barracks closing in, squeezing the air from his lungs. An engineer dreams that his tools are turning to dust in his hands. These are simple fears, primal anxieties. You are not yet a master of this weapon. You are just throwing static at them. But their minds, so unused to chaos, are taking that static and shaping it. They are creating their own monsters. They are scaring themselves. It's wonderfully efficient. You focus the beam. You choose a single, small patrol ship. A crew of 20. You increase the intensity of the signal directed at them. You don't want to scream at them. You want to murmur. You want to get personal. You watch their internal comms. The ship's captain reports a sudden spike in crew anxiety. 2 crew members have refused to go to their sleep cycle. They claim something is waiting for them there. The ship's medic requests sedatives. The request is denied. Sedatives are for biological problems. This is a matter of discipline. The commanders still think this is a morale issue. They are so wonderfully, fatally wrong. You listen to the dreams you are causing. The patrol ship becomes your laboratory. One soldier dreams he is back on his homeworld, but the sky is on fire. Another dreams he is looking in a mirror, but his reflection is a human, a screaming, terrified human. These are not just bad dreams. They are targeted. They are specific. You are not just creating fear. You are creating doubt. You are making them see things that should not be. You are planting seeds of the impossible in their minds. And those seeds are beginning to sprout. The patrol ship's performance plummets. They miss a scheduled check-in. They make a minor navigational error. Trivial mistakes. But for a species that prides itself on perfection, a trivial mistake is a crack in the foundation of their identity. The commanders take notice. They order the ship back to the main fleet for psychological evaluation. It is your first victory, a small one. But it is proof. Proof that your whisper weapon works. You have taken one of their pieces off the board. You did not use a single missile. You did it with a bad dream. A new kind of war has begun. A war fought on the battlefield of the subconscious. And you are the only one with a map. You feel a sense of power that is both thrilling and terrifying. You are no longer just a defender of your world. You are an invader of theirs. You are trespassing in the most private space imaginable, the space of dreams, and you are just beginning to explore the territory. Now you understand the machine. The Somnus device is not just a broadcaster. It is a receiver. It can listen to their minds just as it can speak to them. You are no longer shouting into the dark. You are having a conversation, a very one-sided conversation. You spend days, which blur into a single long night, in the lab. You are mapping their consciousness. You are learning the shape of their thoughts, the texture of their collective soul. It is a strange and alien landscape, a world of perfect logic and cold harmony. It is beautiful in its own way, and it is terribly, terribly fragile. You discover their fears, not the simple primal fears you triggered before, but their deep cultural terrors, the things that haunt their history, the boogeymen from their own dark closets. Their unity, you realize, is not just a strength. It is a defense mechanism, a way to keep these old fears buried. You have just been given a shovel. You start digging. You target a single, high-ranking officer, a fleet strategist known for his cold, unbending logic. You find him in his sleep cycle. You peel back the layers of his mind. You go past the tactical overlays, past the star charts. You find the small, frightened creature underneath. You discover he has a deep, buried fear of isolation. The hive mind is his shield against the terror of being alone. For his species, to be alone is to be insane. To be cut off from the chorus is a fate worse than death. So you give him exactly that. You craft a dream for him. You place him on a ship, his ship. But it is empty. The corridors are silent. The bridge is abandoned. He calls out to the hive mind. But there is no answer, only the echo of his own thought. He is utterly, completely alone. For the first time in his existence, you watch his mind react. It is a cascade of pure panic. a system crash of the soul. His logic cannot save him. His training is useless. He is a child lost in the dark. You let him stew in that dream for what feels like an eternity. Then you gently pull back. You let him wake up. He wakes up screaming, a sound his species has not made in 1,000 years. His aides rush in. They find him huddled in a corner, shaking. He cannot connect to the hive mind, not properly. Your dream has left a scar, a psychic wound that isolates him. You have effectively unplugged him from his own people. The news of the strategist's breakdown spreads like wildfire. They call it sudden psychic collapse, a new and terrifying medical condition. They have no idea it is a condition you inflicted. They have no idea you are the architect of their fear. They quarantine him. They study him. They are looking for a cure to a disease that is not a disease. You become bolder. You move from individual targets to entire crews. You find a destroyer-class vessel. You learn they have a cultural myth, a story about a star-born entity that consumes minds, a creature of pure thought that devours consciousness. They call it the Sci-Fi. It's their version of the devil. So you give them their devil. You make them all have the same dream. They are on their ship. The lights flicker and die. They hear a whisper in the halls, a voice that is not part of the hive. It promises them silence. It promises them an end to thought. Then they see it. A shadow that moves through walls, a being of pure terror, their own myth, made real in their sleep. The entire crew of the destroyer wakes up at the same time. All 400 of them. They all report the same nightmare. They all saw the same shadow, the same devil. Panic ensues. They start firing at shadows in the corridors. They turn on each other. The ship descends into chaos. All because of a bedtime story you weaponized. You are no longer just dropping stones in their ocean. You are teaching sea monsters to swim in it. You are not just a whisper. You are the voice of their deepest, darkest terrors. You show them their own faces, twisted into masks of horror. You show them their perfect ships, rusting and decayed. You show them their glorious conquest, ending in madness and dust. You are getting good at this. Too good. Dr. Thorne watches you with a new kind of fear in her eyes. She built a tool for peace. You have turned it into an artist's brush for creating masterpieces of terror. She asks you what this is doing to you, to your own mind. You don't have an answer for her. You are too busy painting your next nightmare.